And welcome back. This is Baller Scuba with more Radical Dreamers. When we last left off, we finished scenario number 4. Let us never speak of it again. Let's head for scenario number 5 today. It's going to start just like any other one that we have done, but this one's going to, well, end differently. Pretty much like every other scenario that we have done. This is one that I had a little trouble actually completing. Like I've said before, there's not that much information on this game out there, and the guides that I found didn't give me the full story, so I had to figure it out kind of for myself. Just a little bit of exploring around, and I was able to get most of what I needed to find, and hopefully I can figure out the rest from there. So, let us head into scenario number 5. We start off the same way we always do, hypnotized by Kid's luxurious hair, because we're Surge, and Surge is easily distracted, I guess. So we're gonna fall asleep. Seems logical to me, and surely when we fall asleep, only good things will happen. We will wake up in front of the Viper Manor yet again. I did do fast speed, didn't I? I'm sure I did. But we're pretty much doing the same thing, following Kid inside as the darkness engulfs me. That's such an ominous line, and it leads into not all that much, really. Just nothing all that bad. And then we see the light. This time, we are actually going to follow that light instead of following Kid. It doesn't seem like the best idea, but that is what we're going to do. Take another second to see about that light. There's something here, I'm sure of it. It was a faint light, sort of like a camera flash, but much more subtle. Couldn't have been the moonlight. Surge, what are you, paralyzed? Come on, Kid says, coming back towards me. There's something here, Kid. Just as I start to think that it could have been my imagination. Suddenly, wearing a tattered old priest's robe, a figure of a young lady materializes above us. Finally, you have come. That voice, it's so strange. It sounds like it's resonating inside my head. Kid, can you hear that? I'm not even sure if I just said that. Could this all be a dream? I kind of hope so. Before I have time to think, Kid and Majel come up beside me, also staring at the apparition. Okay, now I know this is real. It's too real to be a dream. Surely. Where'd she go? Black magic, witchcraft, necromancy. I've seen all sorts of different types of stuff in the past, but this, I don't think I've ever been faced with anything like this before. On the other hand, Majel stands there with his usual cool composure. I doubt this is the first time he's dealing with something like this. A wave of anxiety runs through my entire body, standing here in this dark, damp hallway. I wonder, should we even be here? Was this a message of some kind to leave? Just by standing here, we might be desecrating the memory of the dead. The girl's face shines out in my mind. She seems so sad. I do not believe this will necessarily help with our mission. Let us move on. I've never been so quick to agree with Majel. Kid doesn't seem to have any objections either. After a while, the path splits into 3 directions. To the left is a descending staircase, while the path on the right extends into darkness. Another passageway lies ahead. We will proceed on ahead. We're going to go to a place that we avoided for quite some time in the normal playthrough. We're going to go into the ballroom. This was kind of an important room last time. A slight breeze is our only welcome as we enter through the huge set of doors. We're met with silence as we look around this spacious 2-story hall. On the far wall, a monstrous organ stands proudly, beckoning us with its pitch-black aura. A countless number of candles are lit all around us, offsetting our surroundings with a strange flickering radiance. What is this place, a cathedral or something? It seems so. The candles in this room have been placed in such a way to produce patterns of shadows consistent with occult teachings. Majel says. Looking down, I can see he's onto something. A number of strange candlelit patterns dance around on the floor. Do not stand there. I instantly leap back, cold sweat running down my neck. My hand is on my knife. Not that it'll do any good at this point. Indeed, a most peculiar arrangement. Majel continues as I back against the wall. This is indeed an unholy cathedral, ordained for occult sermons. The shadows indicate this spot as a focal point of some kind. This entire mansion is an instrument for defying order. No, wait. He continues a moment later. I was wrong. This room isn't the focal point. Shadows don't quite meet here in focus, as though... Yeah, let's look around with him. Otherwise, this will have you leave. And we have something to do here. Let's look. Although scared, I start to look around the cathedral. Its dusty pillars and cold, clammy walls send a shiver down my spine. Setting my sights on the organ, I walk over towards it. Strange. The keyboard is fake. There's no mistaking it. These keys aren't real. They're bound together. All the whites are one solid piece of ivory, as well as the blacks. Segregation. Hey, Majel, have you seen this yet? I think I found something. This time we do want to press on both keys at the same time. As soon as I press down on the keys, the wall just to the left of me begins to rumble. A secret passage has just opened up. Peering into it, I can see a stone stairway winding down. A secret floor directly beneath this one. A secret floor directly beneath this one. Of course, Majel says to himself as we start down the narrow staircase. Once we reach the bottom, Majel casts a spell, allowing us to see into this dark, damp room. The faint luminescence allows us to see somewhat. We're in a room not much taller than head height. However, what's interesting is that this room seems to have the exact same length and width as the room above us. Even the pillars are here, in the exact same places as they were above. Could this be the original floor, covered up with what's there now? Why would someone do that? What would they need to cover up? Look over there, Majel whispers. In the direction he's pointing, we see a faint cloud-like mass. No, my mistake. It's something sketched on the floor, emitting a dull, pulsating light. That looks vaguely familiar and ominous. What is it? Kid asks. I cannot be sure. Perhaps it is an inscription placed here by those that constructed this place. I must think more on this matter. Suddenly a dry wind blows past me. It didn't come from the stairwell, and there aren't any windows down here. Let us come back when we know more, Majel says. I have no problem with that whatsoever. We head back up the stairs and out of the cathedral, back into the corridor within seconds, but still that chilly feeling on the back of my neck hasn't abated. Ahead of me, I hear Kid come to a sudden stop. What's wrong? I ask in a whisper. I look over only to see Kid pointing down the dark hallway. Squinting my eyes, I try to look for something. After a while, I start to see some sort of a white mass a ways ahead of us. What is it? I ask, readying my knife. And then, as if reacting to my voice, it starts to quickly scurry towards us, growing taller and taller as it approaches. It's a skeleton! Quick, what do we do? Fall back, ram it? Ram it, it's a skeleton! I immediately start rushing, hoping to catch it off guard. With a hollow clatter, the skeleton comes toppling down to the ground. Ribs fly everywhere as its spine breaks in two. I think you've had enough, Kid shouts, looking over to the crumpled heap of bones. Suddenly, as if somehow reacting to her taunts, the skeleton's remains begin to stir once again. I back away in shock as the skeleton's torso starts to prop itself up with its left hand. Its right hand then grasps its dislodged skull and holds it up, staring straight at us. What the? Suddenly, the skeleton hurls its skull at me with blinding speed. What do I do? Catch it! I nimbly catch the skull in my hand. Smash it on the floor. I kneel down to the ground and raise the skull high above my head. Then with all of my might, I hurl it down to the ground with blinding speed. As soon as I do this, the remains of the skeletons crumble lifelessly to the ground. It runs up to the pile, scattering the bones everywhere. Relieved, I crawl back away, staring at the shattered skull before me. That seemed kind of easy. Actually, I know that if you throw it back, he'll just throw it right back at you. You can play catch with his head. Now you've had enough, Kid says. You okay, mate? Yeah, I'm not bad. I got some bruises here and there, but nothing too serious. You? Are you kidding? I kicked that thing's arse so bad it didn't even have time to say its prayers. Yeah, we did pretty good back there, didn't we? You make a great team, kid. Damn it, Serge. When are you gonna bloody grow up and start fighting like a man? Kid's glare shoots into me like an icy lance. I swallow a dry gulp and continue down the corridor behind her. Now this is where things get a little weird and iffy for me. I'm just gonna do the way that I figured out how to do it. Because... really, I can only find one guide, and it tells me just to go to Lynx's quarters right now, and that's not going to do anything for me. I know it's not. We leave the cathedral, heading back through the corridor. After a bit of walking, we come to a three-way split in the path. To the right is a set of stairs leading down, while a narrow passageway to the left leads off into darkness. The path up ahead will take us towards the terrace. So... like I said, the guide tells you to go to Lynx's quarters. That's not going to do anything for you. What you want to do is head straight. After continuing on through the passage for a while, the terrace comes into view on the right. I take a deep breath of the fresh evening air, hoping to calm my senses. Let's just keep going. We make our way down the dimly lit passageway. After a few moments, we come to an old dusty door on the right. This is the clock tower storeroom. Kid quietly presses her ear against the door. Quiet as a church mouse. Quiet as a church mouse. No one's there, mate. We will keep going down the hallway. This is not our destination. Proceeding ahead on the path, we come to a staircase going up and a firm-looking set of doors on the left. There better be treasure here. The smell of gold's thick in the air, mate. I believe this is where we need to go. The door is locked. But not for long. Before Majel can even offer an unlock spell, I notice Kid combing her fingers through her hair, revealing a hairpin after a moment or two. Kneeling down by the door, she fiddles around with the lock for a bit, and after a while unlocks it with a click. That was almost too easy. An amazing sight is spread before our eyes. I don't quite know what to think of it. We're in some sort of treasure vault with piles of gold, silver, and other sparkling treasures stacked in piles throughout the room. But that's not the half of it. Looking out towards the far end, an even more remarkable sight catches my eye. Halfway into the room, the piles of treasure turn into somewhat of a beach, followed by a glistening ocean. It's all a huge diorama, with every single object crafted from gems or precious metal. The ocean, however, is perfectly calm. No, calm isn't the word for it. It's as still as glass. The glistening sheen of every undulating whitecap here seems to be frozen in time, stirred up like crystal valleys against the jade-like reefs of nearby islands. Huh. I didn't know that description was in here. I walk out onto the beach and bend down to touch the unmoving water, but it's not frozen, just motionless. A polished metallic siren adorned with scales of mica and hair of platinum stands proudly on a nearby island with a mysterious smile on its face. Those scales don't look like mica to me. Mica is very black. In its lifelike hand, almost obscured by a crashing wave, is an object of rare beauty. This stone, gripped tightly by the pearl-colored hand, seems as though it's capturing this ocean's stormy essence within its deep red center. Indeed, this is the object we've been seeking, yet it's out of our grasp, if only by a small distance, seized within the hand of this suspicious-looking metallic contraption. The frozen flame. There it is, Serge. There it is, Serge! Get your scaffold! Kid shouts, unable to suppress her highly strung heart any longer. However, I hesitate. There's more to this than meets the eye, I tell myself as I glance at Majel. His eyes tell me the same.